Molly the mixologist here again to talk about some more basics for mixology. Today we are going to be talking about muddling. Now the interesting thing about muddling is there's actually a few different tips and tricks that you want to keep in mind depending on what you're working with. So I want to go through a few of those and then we'll do a couple examples. Now we're going to start with the idea of muddling citrus. So I'm going to start with some limes that I have sliced over here. The key when you're muddling citrus in general is that you don't want a lot of bitterness. You don't want to release too much bitterness. So you don't want to over muddle it, and particularly you don't want to smash the rind too much. So having wheels like this is perfect because you're not giving yourself too much rind to work with. If it was an orange or a lemon, grapefruit, same thing. So I'm going to take a few limes in this case. Let's say we were going to do 3, depends on your recipe. And then you want to start with your muddling ingredient, your citrus juice, and if the cocktail calls for bitters, your bitters. So let's say we were doing something that called for 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. We're going to add that. And then we're going to add a few dashes of bitters. Just a little tip here, when you hold your bitters, hold them like this and give it a couple nice dashes. That way you'll get a nice full dash when you do it in that fashion. Now that you have those ingredients in there, what you want to do is gently press. So if you smash too hard, or you, oopsie, sometimes they'll get stuck on there, or you kind of pound at it, you're going to release too much bitterness. So give it some nice slow twists, good force, but not too aggressive. And that's going to release the citrus. It's also going to release a little bit of bitterness, but not too much. So that's what we would do if we were doing citrus. Now, if you're doing herbs, it's a little different. If you over muddle herbs, even by a little bit, it's going to get super, super bitter. So you want to be very careful about that. So let's say we were doing basil. I like to give it a nice little, we'll grab that one too, a little smack first. That helps release the oils so that it gives it a nice smell, which is obviously one of the important elements of a cocktail. And then you're really just going to press a couple times. 1, 2, nice and gentle. Because really, you're just helping release the oils, and then you're going to let the ice do the rest of the work. Now, that's for those ingredients. However, if you were to do, say, a Sazerac or an old-fashioned, let's go ahead and set our tin to the side here and grab our mixing glass. That would be a little different because you have to really incorporate the sugar into the bitters, almost to make a paste. That's the only way you're going to really get it to integrate into a drink. Since you're not shaking it, you're stirring it. So we're going to grab our sugar here and do a couple bar spoons. That's about the equivalent of, 1 sugar cube, which is a classic old-fashioned or Sazerac recipe. And then we're going to add a healthy 3 to 4 dashes of bitters. 3, 4. Keep in mind if your bitters bottle is particularly full, you're going to have to do extra because it won't dash quite as well. And then you have to really go at it. Give it some elbow grease. I like to kind of almost like butter churn it. Because what you're doing is forming a kind of paste with the bitters and the sugar that's going to integrate better into a stirred cocktail. So go at it for a while, really, really grind it in there. That's going to give you the most elevated version of this cocktail you can get. Because with simple syrup, you're adding water in an uncontrolled fashion versus using a sugar cube or real sugar where you have pure control over how much water you're adding through dilution. So we're at a pretty good spot there. And now we can go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients and mix our drink. So that's all you need to know for that. And muddle on. Cheers.